For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh, and today I've got big feelings while we talk about Longlegs. For Victims and Villains, my name is Josh, and today I've got big feelings while we talk about Longlegs. Slight disclaimer, I used to be the co-host of our Nicolas Cage podcast, which you guys can still stream our backlog right here on YouTube. It's called That's High Praise. I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan, with that being said, and also at the same time, this movie was in my most anticipated list of this year, so let's get into it. Longlegs tells the story of an FBI agent played by Maika Monroe that tries to hunt down a serial killer that has plagued a small surrounding area of Oregon for 2+ decades. This could be my movie of the year. I absolutely, from start to finish, loved everything about this movie. This is my first Oz Perkins movie. This is the linchpin that is going to make me dive deeper into his career because, man, what an impressive movie this is from start to finish. So the score for Longlegs is composed by a composer named Zilji, and I'm unfamiliar with their work, but I have to say, much like Perkins, this one just works. It's like immaculate. It's like it is a tapestry of just tension, and the story itself is a masterclass in the storytelling of tension, and when it's paired with Zilji's score, this draws you to the edge of your seat and it arrests you there from its haunting opening until its jaw-dropping, and I would argue abrupt ending. While I'm on the topic of Perkins as a storyteller, I love the way that they set up shots. It's done incredibly well, and they're super effective, and it really helps with the film's sense of dread that you are consistently studying every inch of the screen while your eyes are fixated on the center. I thought that was a really nice touch. I will also get it out of the way. This is a top 5 performance career for Nicolas Cage. I think that's what everyone's expecting of me as the Nicolas Cage guy or Victims and Villains. Nicolas Cage isn't in this movie very long, like there's not a lot of screen time that he has to his name, but the way that Perkins sets up frames with him and the way that they've also kind of hidden him from the marketing campaign, I think it allows those two junctions together allow his performance to really be elevated on top of reminding us once again how much of a master he is of this craft. And Nicolas Cage kind of just disappears into this role, which is just absolutely chilling to kind of find this really dark place. Like, yes, there are a lot of the Nicolas Cage mannerisms here and present, but the way that Perkins uses them into the story and into the actual characterization of Longlegs is just downright eerie and incredibly effective. The character design also adds that haunting element of it, and just Nicolas Cage's performance with the character design is just living nightmares every inch of the reels that he occupies. And the same could be said about Maika Monroe's performance as well. Her entire character arc is probably one of my favorite things about this movie. There's a lot of mystery that's built up just as much around her as there is around Cage's character. And just the kind of seeing the way that those stories unfold running parallel together, again, just speaks to the craftsmanship of Perkins as a storyteller and both Monroe and Cage as just auteurs of this craft. And honestly, you can say the same about any performance that's on the screen, whether it's a larger role like Blair Underwood or minor performances like Alicia Witt or Kierna Shipka. I am ready to run this one through the Rorschach rating scale. I feel like if I keep gushing, I'm just going to kind of get into spoilers, and honestly, the least you know about this movie, the better it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and give Longlegs a 4.5 out of 5. I think this movie has a lot to offer, especially for horror fans or those that are just getting into the genre. The way that Oz Perkins weaves in tension, running duel with mystery and character development is just a thing of masterclass. This film does weave a tapestry of tension incredibly well and gives us what I will say another modern horror villain that is going to be one for the books, right up there with Art the Clown. I absolutely love Nicolas Cage in this movie, and I cannot wait to dive into repeated viewings of this to get more out of it. If you guys have creeped into the theater to see Longlegs, what did you guys think? Comment below and let me know. Let's talk about mental health, though. If you guys are new to our content, Mental Health Moments, where we take a theme of mental health out of the film which we're talking about, discuss it for a few moments in the hopes to deconstruct the stigma surrounding mental health. A lot of the events in this movie boil down to how two individuals really respond to a traumatic event. We've talked about it in the past on Abyss Gazing, and we've talked about it here on this channel. Everyone responds to trauma differently. Some people dive into art, some people shut down, and some people just don't know how to respond at all and just kind of go numb. There is no right or wrong way in order to respond to trauma. It ultimately also boils down to how we process it as well. The actual process of going through and healing from trauma can take anywhere between, a single year to a decade, if not longer. Sometimes it's always going to be on the individual and how they respond to it, and or how traumatic the actual event was. A great resource is available, including links in our show notes below where you guys can check out our mental health resource library. If you guys are watching this on Instagram, it's the link in the bio. Or also at the same time, things like therapy, group therapy, and sometimes even medication also help in that process. But again, it comes back to the original statement of everyone processes differently. Find what works for you, and if it doesn't work for you, then try multiple different things to find the thing that does ultimately work for you. Once again, if you or someone you know is struggling, you guys can click the links in the show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. Longlegs is now playing in theaters everywhere from Neon. Click the links in that show notes below to check out our mental health resource library. Like I said, more movie reviews like this, our podcast network, all of our social links, how to support us on Patreon, and also that subscribe button. So just hit that subscribe button. And until next time, remember to stay classy and keep it scary. Have a good night.